The censoring on Fox on Friday was at its all-time worst. There were so many random black screens and crowd muting. It completely butchered the entire show. And I understand that there are certain things like language-wise that they may have to mute. But to black out the entire screen so many times is ridiculous. And I am convinced that they're doing it more and more because they don't give a shit, because they know Smackdown is gone in September. Like, the show is leaving, it's moving to USA, they made the choice not to renew it, so they don't care. They're doing it on purpose. I don't think they care. WWE was rightfully said to be pissed about the whole thing, according to a report from Fightful that said there was frustration from several WWE sources over the heavy censorship and editing on SmackDown. One longtime WWE talent who was not on SmackDown saw our tweet regarding being excited for SmackDown moving back to USA and said, "It's a chore to watch sometimes. I understand censoring fuck the Pacers, but it feels like every segment is edited and it makes us look like it's our production." And it's true, you know, that's one of the reasons why they're so frustrated, is that every time you see that or you hear that, and it's like, oh my God, this is awful. A lot of people are watching that thinking that it's probably from WWE's end. And honestly, I can understand the frustration from Tony Khan and AEW as well when it happens to them. How many times is there some sort of audio or production snafu on Dynamite and people are shitting all over AEW for it, and then we come to find out that on the international feeds, on Triller and in these different places, oh, it sounds great. Everything's perfect. Because it's coming from TBS and not from AEW, but AEW gets the blame for it. So for WWE to be frustrated, it's totally understandable. Now, Triple H was on Pat McAfee's show on Friday talking about the $5 billion Netflix deal, and he said that Netflix will not be censoring the show like these networks do on TV. And that includes USA, by the way. Now, Fox is far worse, but it's not like USA doesn't mute the audio too. See, what they do is they mute it, and then they unmute it, and then they mute it, and then they unmute it, which I think sounds even worse. But I don't ever see them blacking out the screen for 10 to 15 seconds on end. But Triple H said, Netflix is a completely different animal. It's a streaming service. How are commercials going to work? How are breaks going to work? What's the length of time? What are the restrictions? Just as an example, us being on Fox, if the crowd chants holy shit or something much worse, they just take out the audio. Sometimes they take the picture and the audio off, and it's just a black screen. The Rock comes in, and you sort of can't tell The Rock what to do. What are we going to tell him? So he sort of does what he does. We won't have those issues with Netflix. And that's one of the great positives about Raw moving to Netflix. Unfortunately, SmackDown is not moving there too. But that's one of the positives about moving to Netflix. The handcuffs are loosened. I will not say that the handcuffs are completely removed, because they're not going to be. And I think people need a reality check on this. If you think that Raw moving to Netflix means that we're going to get F-bombs every week, and we're going to get all kinds of shit that you would never see on TV, and none of it is going to be censored or edited in some way, then you're wrong. There is going to be censoring to some degree. There will be certain lines that cannot be crossed. But yes, it's going to make for a much better viewing experience because they're going to be a lot more relaxed about it. I mean, you watch that show on Friday, it's almost unwatchable. And it's like key moments on the show, key entrances that they're doing this. They're blacking the screen and muting the audio. You think that your feed went out. You know, people are like reaching for the remote and changing the channel to make sure, hey, do the other channels work, right? And then it's like, oh, they do. It must be a WWE problem. So I can't wait for SmackDown just to get the fuck off of Fox. Fox fucking sucks. And the sooner they get this show off of it, the better the show will be. But USA will still be, you know, muting the audio when they have to mute the audio. But it can't be any worse than what we saw on Friday. I've never seen it that bad. It was awful. And again, you have people who are watching probably in other countries who are listening to me going, what is he on about? Like, it was perfectly fine here. This is the shit that we have to sit through here. And hopefully it won't be for but a few more months. But I just wanted to give people a reality check on the Netflix thing, because I think some people think, oh, thank God, you know, they could do whatever they want, no commercials. Like, no, there are going to be commercials, but I think it'll be a better situation than the one we have now.